This story is about an elderly couple was struggling in silence. Then an angel appeared. Joe and Mabel had spent over 60 years in their little yellow house at the end of Willowbend Lane. Once, it was a lively place full of grandkids, Sunday dinners, and loud laughter that spilled onto the porch. But time had slowed everything down. Joe's knees trembled when he stood too long, and Mabel's vision blurred every time she tried to read her favorite devotionals. Their children lived miles away. Their neighbors kept to themselves. The world had moved on, and the couple did what elders often do. They tried to manage the best they could, even when managing meant silently struggling. One chilly morning, Joe stepped outside to clear the porch. The wind pushed him sideways, and his grip slipped on the railing. A young woman walking by, Tiana, saw him wobble and rushed over. She introduced herself, helped him steady his balance, and noticed the loose railing, the cluttered gutter, the dim porch light. Her heart squeezed. She'd seen this kind of quiet struggle before with her own grandparents. The next day, she came back with homemade food she accidentally cooked too much of. Mabel didn't buy it for a second, but welcomed her with open arms. That meal turned into conversations. Conversations turned into visits. And soon, Tiana became a regular part of their days, fixing small things, bringing groceries, teaching Mabel how to use the voice feature on her phone, so she didn't have to squint anymore. But Tiana wasn't done. She posted in a local community group, asking for help for a sweet elderly couple who could use a little love. She never used their names, just described their situation. And people responded, quickly. A retired handyman repaired the railing. A local bakery donated fresh bread every week. A teenager offered to mow their lawn for free. Someone paid their water bill anonymously. Little by little, compassion built a network around them. Then came the night everything changed. A cold rain knocked the power out across the block. The house fell into total darkness. Joe squeezed Mabel's hand, trying to sound calm even though fear crept through both of them. They didn't know how long the outage would last, and the cold was already seeping in. Minutes later, headlights appeared outside. Tiana burst through the door with two volunteers, carrying lanterns, blankets, and hot tea. "We're not leaving you in the dark," she said. They sat with Joe and Mabel for hours, talking, laughing, listening, until the lights flickered back on. Mabel's eyes filled with tears. "I thought the world forgot us," she whispered. Joe held her hand.
"No, love.
Compassion just needed someone brave enough to start it." From that night forward, help never stopped arriving. Their little yellow house filled with warmth again, footsteps, conversation, and people who cared. Their days were no longer quiet. They were full. They were seen. They had community again. Their stories spread through the neighborhood, and then online, reminding everyone that compassion doesn't need permission. It just needs one person to notice, one person to act, one person to say, "You matter." And for Joe and Mabel, that person was a young woman with grocery bags and a heart big enough to change everything.